holding for as long as we programmed you to hold for, or as long as you can without losing these form points, right? The form is always the most important. And then you're going to slowly bring those knees back down. Hey guys, welcome to our home, and today we're going to show you just a bear position hold. This is a fantastic way to continue to work on having all the planes of your body parallel that we talk about, the diaphragm and the pelvis, while adding some external load or force to your body so that we can continue to get these things stronger and stronger. So,
one thing to clarify, she means bear position, like not like bear, like naked. You will be, you don't have to be, but you may choose to be clothed or unclothed for this exercise.
Yes, bear like you're an animal. Like you're an animal in an animal position. And this really is, it feels super primal and good to connect to your body in this way on all fours. There's a couple really important foundational form things that I'm going to tell you about as John gets into the position for us. The first thing is, if this bothers your wrist, you can make a fist and come up on your fist. You can also grab onto a dumbbell and then put the dumbbell on the ground. And that will literally elevate, yeah, John's just going to show us. This is an awesome trick to help your wrist be in a more neutral position, okay? Now, if you can have your hands flat on the ground, I want you to do that because that is a position we should be able to use our hands in. But if you're working towards getting there, it's really okay. Those hands are going to be down shoulder width apart. And I want you to really press through the second finger on your hand, okay? Really, that means that all the knuckles of the hands are down on the ground. And the reason I want you to focus on that second finger is because when you press down through here, and then you also take the shoulders and integrate them into your back so that all of this tissue turns on, then your whole arm can literally be screwed into your core so that you're going to have great stability and strength pressing through that second finger, almost like you're going to wrap your hands out to the side on the floor. You're not actually going to move them, but it's just the physical feeling like you're going to wrap them out so that all of this tissue, wrap those arms down a little bit more so all of the tissue on the bottom of your shoulder integrates into your core. Now, thinking about the diaphragm, which runs cross-sectionally through the body, this flat muscle, I want that muscle to be perfectly perpendicular to the floor. The same thing with the pelvis. So thinking about the top points of the pelvis, I want all of those to be making a line that is perpendicular to the floor as well. So rock your pelvis forward just a little bit. There we go. So now, yes, now these two planes are perfectly parallel to each other. We're going to keep all of that in place, and you're going to tuck your toes under. Yeah. And then you're going to lift your knees up just a little bit off the ground, really making sure that the lumbar spine is still neutral, not like that and not like that, where the pelvis or your waistband and your diaphragm are perpendicular to the floor, which means your spine has a little curve in it like it normally does, but it's not excessively pushing on any of the structures. Now, I want you to take a few big 360 breaths into not only all around your torso, but also your pelvic floor, holding for as long as we programmed you to hold for, or as long as you can without losing these form points, right? The form is always the most important. And then you're going to slowly bring those knees back down. You'll notice also that John isn't straining his neck up like this. That's a super common thing, especially when people are first learning exercises. They're like trying to figure it out so hard. Let me do it with my head. I really want you to let the back of your neck be long and relaxed, which just means that you're gently pulling the chin through the throat just enough that there's no straining in the back of your neck.
One thing I like to think about is trying to pull the back of my mouth up to the ceiling. For me, for some reason, thinking about the back of my mouth up helps me get in a much better position than thinking about like pulling my head or chin somewhere. I don't know, that might work for you.
And I just want to clarify, I love that as well. And when we're thinking about the planes of the body and how we're orienting them, a common thing that people will talk about is the pelvis and the diaphragm, which I spoke about, but also the hard palate of the roof of your mouth, like what John is talking about, of an awareness of your mouth. All three of those planes should be parallel to each other all the time. Their diaphragm and pelvis. Exactly.
One other thing I want to talk about here is you want your knees not directly pointing forward. Your hips will naturally be in a position that's slightly turned out. So just slightly turn out your hips. If you squat pretty narrow and can achieve pretty deep depth, you probably don't need to have them turned out. If squatting narrow feels like someone's jabbing a pipe into your hip, you're probably going to need to have it turned out. Okay? Play with it. Feel how the difference in hip position affects different core musculature involvement. Okay? Learn how your body works. Maybe find a position you're weakest in and spend some time there. And maybe just play around with different positions so you have some variety and some variation in your workouts.
And most importantly, do not forget to breathe with your diaphragm while you're doing this.
Yeah, this isn't like a bear position plus breath hold. It's just you're going to be holding position, not your breath, in bear position.
Exactly. Enjoy it.